The 1980s were loud, bold, and unforgettable, but not every star stuck around. Some artists exploded onto the scene with one massive hit, a song that ruled the airwaves, blasted from every boombox, and then disappeared like they were never there. You know these songs. You've danced to them, sung them in the car, and maybe even forgot who made them. But once that first note hits, it all comes rushing back. This is the countdown of the 1980s. One-hit wonders you forgot existed, the tracks that defined moments, made history, and then vanished. Number 10. The Buggles' Video Killed the Radio Star. Before the 80s truly began, one song predicted the future of music. In 1979 in the United Kingdom and early 1980 in the United States, a quirky duo called the Buggles released Video Killed the Radio Star. It quickly became a worldwide hit, reaching the top of the charts in multiple countries and landing in the top 40 in America. But what really cemented its place in history was what happened next. It became the very first music video ever played on MTV. The song is part pop anthem, part prophecy. With its futuristic synths and layered vocals, Video Killed the Radio Star captured the moment when television began to change the way people experienced music. It celebrated the excitement of the new medium, but also mourned the fading era of radio dominance. That tension gave the song a unique power that made it stick in people's minds. The Buggles were made up of Trevor Horn and Jeff Downes, two studio musicians who embraced the emerging synth-pop sound before it became mainstream. Their sharp production and experimental style gave the track a modern edge that set it apart from the rock-heavy charts of the late 70s. It sounded like a glimpse into the future, and in many ways, it was. When MTV launched in August of 1980, this was the video that opened the channel. Those first words, "Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll," were followed by the now famous clip of the Buggles performing. That moment didn't just mark the beginning of a new TV network. It marked the start of a new era for music itself. Ironically, despite their role in history, the Buggles never scored another major hit. Trevor Horn went on to become a highly successful producer, working with acts like Frankie Goes to Hollywood and Yes. Jeff Downes joined the band Asia. But as a duo, their chart story ended with this one iconic single. Today, Video Killed the Radio Star stands as both a musical time capsule and a cultural turning point. It's the sound of music looking forward and the perfect way to kick off our countdown of forgotten one-hit wonders from the 80s. Number 9, Murray Head, One Night in Bangkok. In 1984, a theatrical pop song with a razor-sharp edge suddenly took over the airwaves. Murray Head's One Night in Bangkok came out of nowhere, blending Broadway storytelling with 80s synth swagger, and it became one of the most unexpected hits of the decade. The track shot up the charts, peaking at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the United States, and became a global sensation. The song wasn't born in a recording studio. It came from a stage musical called Chess, written by Tim Rice, along with Benny Andersson and Björn Ulvaeus of ABBA fame. The musical tells the story of a Cold War-era chess tournament, filled with political tension and personal drama.
Bangkok, Oriental sitting in the city, don't know what the city is.
One Night in Bangkok is sung by the American chess master, delivering a sarcastic and cool observation about the city around him. What made the song so striking was its mix of styles. The verses are rapped in a dry, cynical tone over a pulsing synth beat, while the chorus soars with operatic vocals sung by a different performer, Anders Glenmark. It's part pop song, part musical theater, and part rap, a combination that shouldn't have worked, but somehow did. Murray Head wasn't new to performing. He had appeared in Jesus Christ Superstar years earlier and had some success in the UK, but One Night in Bangkok was his only major hit in the United States. His sharp, detached vocal delivery gave the verses their bite, making the song feel both sophisticated and cool. Despite its chart success, the song stirred some controversy for its lyrical references to Bangkok's nightlife, which some listeners considered disrespectful. But that didn't stop it from becoming a massive hit across Europe, North America, and Asia. For a brief moment, everyone was humming that unforgettable chorus. After the success of One Night in Bangkok, Murray Head returned to acting and stage work, but he never came close to another hit of this scale. Today, The song stands as one of the strangest and most memorable one-hit wonders of the 80s. A perfect mix of theatrical flair and 80s production. Number 8. Dexys' Midnight Runners, Come On Eileen. In 1982, a scrappy British band wearing overalls and fiddling away like a Celtic folk group suddenly took over the world. Dexys' Midnight Runners released Come On Eileen, and almost overnight, it became one of the biggest anthems of the decade. The song reached number 1 on both the UK singles chart and the Billboard Hot 100 in the United States, knocking Michael Jackson's Billie Jean off the top spot, no small feat. Come On Eileen is pure, infectious energy. The song starts slow, with a lilting fiddle and Kevin Rowland's shaky, emotional vocal delivery. Then, almost out of nowhere, it explodes into a bouncing, danceable rhythm that feels equal parts folk, soul, and pop. Its chorus, Come On Eileen, Oh I Swear, is one of the most instantly recognizable refrains of the 80s. Dexys' Midnight Runners weren't a typical pop band. They emerged from Britain's post-punk scene with a soul-influenced sound, then reinvented themselves with a Celtic twist for this album. Their image, denim overalls, messy hair, street band aesthetic, gave them a unique identity at a time when slick synth-pop dominated MTV. They looked different, they sounded different, and it worked. In the UK, the band had already tasted success, but Come On Eileen was their first and only massive hit in America. Its blend of nostalgia and joyful abandon struck a chord with audiences. The music video, filmed in a gritty urban setting, perfectly matched the song's carefree vibe and helped propel it on MTV. Despite the success, the band couldn't keep the momentum going. Creative tensions and constant reinvention meant that by the time they released their next album, the moment had passed. Kevin Rowland continued to make music, but Dexys' Midnight Runners never scored another major hit. Today, Come On Eileen is a guaranteed crowd to sing along at weddings, bars, and retro nights. It's one of those songs that everyone knows even if they have no idea who sang it. That mix of joy, nostalgia, and pure catchiness is what makes it one of the greatest one-hit wonders of the 80s. Number 7. A Flock of Seagulls, I Ran So Far Away. In 1982, a synth-drenched anthem from a band with wild haircuts and a futuristic sound stormed onto the charts. A Flock of Seagulls released I Ran So Far Away, and it quickly became one of the most recognizable songs of the early MTV era. It climbed into the top 10 in the United States and became a global hit, especially after heavy rotation on the brand new music television network. I Ran perfectly captured the early 80s new wave sound. The song opens with swirling guitar effects and echoing synths that create a spacey atmosphere, before bursting into a driving beat and soaring chorus. The hook in I Ran So Far Away, is simple, catchy, and impossible to forget. It felt like music from the future, which was exactly the vibe the band was going for. A flock of seagulls formed in Liverpool, England, and were led by Mike Score, a former hairdresser who became almost as famous for his distinctive swooping hairstyle as for his music. Their sound blended post-punk energy with glossy synth production, a formula that defined much of the early 80s pop landscape. The music video for I Ran was crucial to its success. It featured the band performing in a mirrored room with low-budget sci-fi visuals, exactly the kind of quirky, eye-catching clip that MTV audiences loved. The video played constantly, helping the band break into the American market in a way that would have been impossible just a few years earlier. While A Flock of Seagulls had a couple of smaller hits, nothing came close to the cultural impact of I Ran. The band struggled to evolve their sound as the decade moved on, and internal tensions eventually led to lineup changes. By the mid-80s, their moment in the spotlight had faded. Today, I Ran So Far Away is considered a defining track of the early 80s. It's been featured in countless films, TV shows, and video games, and it instantly evokes that neon-drenched, synth-heavy era. For many listeners, this song is the sound of the early MTV revolution. Number 6. Nena, 99, Luftballons. In 1983, a German pop song with an anti-war message unexpectedly became a worldwide phenomenon. 99 Luftballons by Nena wasn't just a catchy tune, it was a Cold War era anthem that crossed language barriers and dominated charts around the world. The song hit number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the United States, and it reached number 1 in several other countries, making it one of the most surprising international hits of the decade. The song tells the story of 99 balloons released into the sky that are mistaken for enemy aircraft, triggering a catastrophic military response. Its lyrics are poetic, satirical, and chilling, set against a deceptively upbeat new wave backing. It's a perfect example of how pop music in the 80s could mix infectious melodies with serious themes. Musically, 99 Luftballons is driven by bright synths, punchy drums, and Nena's youthful, passionate vocals. Even for listeners who didn't understand German, the melody was so memorable that it didn't matter. The energy of the song carried its message across language barriers, and its chorus became instantly recognizable. Nena was both the name of the band and the nickname of its lead singer, Gabriele Kerner. In Germany, they were already stars, but this song propelled them to global fame almost overnight. An English version titled 99 Red Balloons was also released, but it was the original German version that captured most of the attention in the United States. Despite the massive success of this single, Nena never managed to replicate it internationally. They continued to have a strong career in Germany, but in the US and other markets, they became classic one-hit wonders. Their sound was tied so closely to this song that nothing else could quite measure up. Today, 99 Luftballons remains a staple of 80s nostalgia playlists. It's been featured in movies, TV shows, and even covered by punk and rock bands. Its mix of catchy pop and political commentary gives it a timeless quality, and it's one of the most memorable one-hit wonders of the decade. Number 5, Tommy Tutone, 8675309. In 1981, one of the most famous phone numbers in music history blasted across the airwaves. 8675309 by Tommy Tutone wasn't just a hit, it became a cultural phenomenon, with real people across the country receiving endless prank calls just because they happened to share the number. The song climbed to number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100, cementing its place in 80s pop culture. The song tells the story of a man who finds the number for a girl named Jenny written on a bathroom wall. He sings about calling her, wondering who she is, and fantasizing about the connection they might have. It's cheeky, playful, and incredibly memorable, the kind of hook that sticks in your head after one listen. Musically, 8675309 is built around a punchy guitar riff and a driving drum beat. It perfectly captures the early 80s power pop sound, blending rock energy with pop accessibility. Lead singer Tommy Heath delivers the vocals with just the right mix of swagger and sincerity, making the story feel both personal and universal. The song's popularity had a strange side effect. Across the United States, people who owned that number suddenly found themselves inundated with calls from curious fans. Some tried to turn it into a business opportunity, while others became so frustrated that they had to disconnect their phones entirely. It was one of the first times a pop song had such a direct, real-world impact through something as simple as a phone number. Tommy Tutone released other singles, but none came close to the success of Jenny. The band's name itself caused some confusion. Many listeners assumed Tommy Tutone was a solo artist, when in fact it was a group. Despite their short time at the top, this one song was enough to secure their place in music history. Today, 8675309 is more than just a catchy tune. It's a symbol of the early 80s pop rock era, a time when a great hook and a bit of attitude could turn an ordinary number into one of the most famous choruses ever recorded. Number 4, Soft Cell, Tainted Love. In 1981, a synth-driven track from the United Kingdom took over the world. Tainted Love by Soft Cell became one of the decade's most iconic songs, blending moody electronic beats with soulful vocals in a way that felt completely fresh. Originally recorded by Gloria Jones in 1964, Soft Cell transformed it into a dark, hypnotic anthem that defined early 80s new wave. From the very first thump of the drum machine, Tainted Love pulls you in. Mark Allman's haunting vocals float over minimal but punchy synth lines, creating an atmosphere that feels both cold and emotional at the same time. It perfectly captured the post-disco moment, when pop music was shifting away from the dance floor glamour of the 70s towards something moodier and more experimental. The lyrics tell the story of a toxic relationship, one that the narrator can't quite escape, no matter how much pain it causes. Once I ran to you, now I run from you, became one of the most memorable lines of the era, resonating with anyone who's ever been stuck in a love they know is wrong. Tainted Love exploded in clubs across Europe and the United States. It reached number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100 and spent a record-setting 43 weeks on the chart, a testament to its staying power. Soft Cell's stripped-down sound made it a favorite for DJs, and its unique vibe stood out from everything else on the radio at the time. Even though Soft Cell had a few other songs, none of them matched the success of Tainted Love. This one single turned them into international stars overnight and remains their defining moment. Over the years, the song has been covered, sampled, and referenced countless times, proving its lasting impact on pop culture. More than 4 decades later, Tainted Love still sounds cool, edgy, and timeless. It's one of those rare one-hit wonders that doesn't feel stuck in its era. Instead, it helped shape the sound of the era itself. Number 3, Men Without Hats, the Safety Dance.
We can dance if you want to. We can leave your friends behind.
In 1982, a quirky Canadian band called Men Without Hats released a song that no one quite expected to become a cultural phenomenon. The Safety Dance mixed synth-pop, new wave, and medieval imagery into a song that was both catchy and strangely rebellious. It wasn't just a hit, it became an anthem for individuality and freedom during the early days of the MTV era. Lead singer Ivan Dorshuk wrote The Safety Dance as a response to being kicked out of a nightclub for pogo dancing, a popular style at the time that some clubs saw as too wild. Instead of sulking, he turned that experience into a defiant message. If you don't want to let us dance, we'll do it somewhere else. The lyrics are playful but pointed, inviting everyone to join in and dance if you want to. Musically, the song stands out with its upbeat tempo, bouncing synth melodies, and infectious chorus. It's the kind of song that immediately makes you want to move ironic, given its origins as a protest against anti-dancing rules. The blend of serious tone and silly imagery made it unforgettable, especially when paired with its now legendary music video. The video, filmed in England, features Ivan leading a group of people dressed in medieval costumes through a village, dancing and celebrating like they're starting a joyful rebellion. MTV played the video constantly, and it quickly became one of the network's early hits, helping the song break into the American mainstream. The Safety Dance climbed to number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and became an international smash. It reached the top 5 in several countries and remains one of the defining songs of the early 80s new wave movement. Men Without Hats would go on to release other music, but nothing ever came close to the global impact of The Safety Dance. It remains a beloved one, hit wonder, a strange, joyful rallying cry that still gets people on their feet decades later. Number 2, Toni, Basil, Mickey.
Oh, Mickey, you're so fine, you're so fine, you blow my mind, hey Mickey.
In 1982, a cheerleader chant crashed into the pop charts and took over the world. Toni Basil's Mickey was loud, punchy, and impossible to ignore. With its pounding drums, clapping hands, and shouted vocals, it felt less like a song and more like a pep rally turned into a pop anthem. Mickey didn't just become a hit. It became one of the most recognizable songs of the entire decade. Toni Basil was already an accomplished dancer, choreographer, and performer before Mickey. She had worked with legends like David Bowie and Elvis Presley, but her solo music career had never taken off. That changed when she decided to record a cover of the 1979 song Kitty by Racy, flipping the gender and transforming it into a fiery cheerleader chant. With its unforgettable, "Oh Mickey, you're so fine, you're so fine, you blow my mind" hook. The song was a perfect fit for the early MTV era. The music video played a huge role in its success. Basil directed and choreographed it herself, performing energetic cheer routines with a real high school cheerleading squad. Dressed in a cheerleader uniform at age 38, she stunned audiences with her athleticism and charisma. MTV ran the video constantly, making Toni Basil one of the first female artists to truly break through on the new network. Mickey raced up the charts, hitting number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in December 1982. It also topped charts in countries like Canada and Australia, and became a major hit across Europe. Its chant-like structure made it an instant crowd pleaser at sporting events, pep rallies, and parties, embedding it into pop culture permanently. Despite its massive success, Toni Basil was never able to replicate the hit. She continued to work as a dancer and choreographer for years, leaving a huge legacy in that world, but Mickey remained her only major chart topper. That, of course, is exactly what makes it a classic one-hit wonder.
Oh, Mickey, what a pity you don't understand.
Decades later, Mickey is still heard in commercials, films, and sports arenas. It's one of those songs that people recognize from the very first clap, a perfect blend of early 80s pop energy and timeless hook writing. Number 1, Baltimora, Tarzan Boy. In 1985, a strange and infectious jungle cry echoed through radios across the world. Tarzan Boy by Baltimora was unlike anything else on the charts, with its upbeat synth melody, rhythmic oh 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 hook, and playful jungle theme. It became an international sensation. It captured the fun, experimental spirit of mid-80s pop music and turned a little-known Italian project into global stars, at least for a moment. Baltimora wasn't actually a band in the traditional sense. It was a studio project led by Italian producer Maurizio Bassi. The face of the group was Jimmy McShane, a Northern Irish performer who danced and lip-synced in the music video. Although McShane became the public image of Baltimora, much of the singing was done by Bassi himself, adding to the song's mysterious aura. Tarzan Boy was built on a simple but brilliant concept. Combine the adventure of Tarzan with the slick, electronic production of 80s dance pop. The song's chorus, with its joyful jungle yell, was impossible not to sing along to. Its bright synths, pounding drum machines, and playful vocal effects made it instantly recognizable. The track shot up the charts in Europe, reaching number 1 in several countries, and broke into the top 20 in the United States. The music video added to its appeal. Set against vibrant jungle-inspired backdrops, McShane danced energetically in bright 80s fashion, perfectly matching the song's upbeat vibe. MTV embraced the video, giving Tarzan Boy heavy rotation. Its quirky, lighthearted tone stood out during an era filled with serious rock ballads and edgy new wave anthems. After Tarzan Boy, Baltimora struggled to follow up with another major hit. Their later singles failed to chart as strongly, and by the late 80s, the project had quietly faded away. But the song never disappeared. Tarzan Boy was revived in the 90s thanks to a Listerine commercial and its inclusion in the movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, introducing it to a new generation. Today, Tarzan Boy remains a quintessential one-hit wonder. Its jungle chant, electronic groove, and playful spirit make it one of the most instantly recognizable pop songs of the 1980s, a track that can transport listeners straight back to the neon-soaked, carefree days of the decade. As the final jungle echoes of Tarzan Boy fade out, it is clear just how special these one-hit wonders of the 1980s really were. Each song we have revisited carried a unique sound, a bold creative risk, or a catchy hook that managed to capture lightning in a bottle even if only once. These artists may not have built massive, decades-long careers like some rock legends, but their contributions left a lasting mark on pop culture. Whether it was the haunting synth of Tainted Love, the playful chanting of Mickey, or the quirky rhythm of the safety dance, these tracks helped define the sonic landscape of the decade. They still light up parties, inspire remixes, and bring waves of nostalgia to anyone who lived through the 80s. Part of what makes one-hit wonders so fascinating is how they freeze a moment in time. These songs remind us of specific years, fashions, and moods. They are snapshots of joy, creativity, and cultural change. Sometimes the biggest hits don't come from the biggest names, but from unexpected artists who strike the perfect chord at the perfect moment. Decades later, the charm of these songs remains untouched. They might not dominate the airwaves anymore, but they live on through playlists, retro nights, and the memories of millions of listeners. The fact that we are still talking about them today is proof of their enduring magic. So whether you grew up dancing to these hits or you're discovering them for the first time, these one-hit wonders deserve to be remembered. After all, in the vast history of music, even one unforgettable song can echo for generations.